So we want to solve by factoring this quadratic equation we have here. So whenever I factor this, the one thing for sure I want to make sure that my a term, so if I have ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, I want this a term to be positive. All right? And so I need to make this in this form here before I try to start factoring it. So how do I do that? Well, I see it's negative, so I'm going to add it on both sides. All right. And I'm going to also subtract the 9x, but I'll do that in just a second. So I have 9x equals what? 5x squared minus 2. I'm going to move this over here because I want it equal to 0, so I subtract 9x from both sides. So I have 0 equals 5x squared minus 9x minus 2. Okay, so I've got a trinomial, so I think t-chart, but then also my a is greater than 1, so I've got to use the AC method. So the AC method, I take this linear middle term, negative 9, and then I do what? 5 times negative 2 to give me negative 10. So I want something that multiplies to negative 10 and adds to negative 9. All right, so 10 times negative 1, that adds to 9. That almost works, so let's do this. Negative 10 times 1, that adds up to negative 9. All right, so I'm going to split this up. So I've got 0 equals, and I have 5x squared minus 10x, where'd the negative 10 come from? Right there, plus 1x minus 2. Okay, now that I have 4 terms, I'm going to factor by grouping. So I group the first 2, I group the second 2, make sure there's a plus in between. If there's a negative, put it inside the parentheses. What's in common between these two? There's a 5 and an x, so I pull the 5x out. So what do I have left? I've got x minus 2 here. Is there anything in common between the x and the negative 2? No. So what do I have? I've only got the 1, the plus 1 that comes out. If nothing in common, you can always pull up 1, a positive 1 out. So what's left? An x minus 2 and an x minus 2. So what do we have? I have x minus 2 times 5x plus 1. Now, with the 0 factor property, this says that if I have a number times another number and it equals 0, then either this number is equal to 0 or this one is equal to 0. So either of those factors are equal to 0 or both. Okay? So I solve each piece. Add 2, add 2. I have x equals 2. Or, now if I minus 1, I've got 5x equals negative 1. And so divide by 5, x is equal to negative 1/5. So my answer, x equals 2, or x is equal to negative 1/5. Now, this one real quick, I'm going to slide this one in here. It's 4x squared minus 9 equal to 0. To do this, I notice it's a difference, but it's only 2 terms, so really it's got to be difference of squares. If I square root each of the individual pieces, I get 2x, and this is 3. So I have 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 3. And I set each piece equal to 0. 2x plus 3 equals 0, or 2x minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, so once again, to get this 2x, I just take the square root of 4x squared. Square root of 4 is 2, square root of x squared is x. And I take square root of 9, and that gets me 3. So that's where those numbers are coming from. Okay, so when I solve here, I subtract 3 minus 3, and I get 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2, so x is equal to negative 3 halves, or, and then over here I add 3 instead of minus, and so I have 2x equals 3. Divide by 2, x is equal to 3 halves. All right.